God damn it.
What the fuck?
Oh! Holy shit! Alright, so here with my new 89 Buick Riviera. Now I've got the Riata, the Riviera, and two Tornados. All I'm missing is an Eldorado, but I guess for the 3800s, I've got them all just about. For these wacky body style cars, you guys know what I mean. Anyway, I got this from Copart. I won it for 300 bucks. After fees, delivery, taxes, everything, I'm into it for around 500. I knew this car needed a water pump, so I had it shipped straight to the shop instead of to my house. No sense shipping it to my house just for it to be broken. The water pump pulley is seized and the serpentine belt was off the car. It was snapped at Copart. I haven't heard this car run. I know it's a run dry. These guys tested it when I got here, and Copart tested it as well. We'll see what kind of shape the motor's in before I start throwing parts at it. But it's in really nice shape, this car. It was a donated, and it's in immaculate condition. I don't know what the miles are because the digital dash is burned out, but there was some paperwork in the glove box. I looked at it at Copart, I hid it afterwards. And the paperwork said it had recent tires put on, and the miles are 90,000. All right, so it does start. Let's go listen to that motor. I'm gonna shut it off pretty quick, obviously, because of the lack of water pump. Doesn't sound bad. It sounds like a typical 3800. Yeah, it sounds healthy. So I'm gonna go ahead and I want to get this thing into the shop ASAP, especially because I got no gauges, and you can see the Vic looks like it's burnt out, or a fuse blew out or something. But anyway, we'll keep that shut off for a second. I even have the original keychain with the clicker, and it works. We'll see what's going on in the trunk. Never saw inside of here either. I noticed it was open a bit when it arrived at Copart. I'm not sure why. The electric pull down's probably burnt out. We got a car cover, so someone obviously loved this car. There's a car cover, got the original Riviera floor mats. No shit. This was someone's baby. This was a 2-owner car, and it might have even been a 1-owner. A lot of times it stays in the same family, and even though it says 2-owner, it really ends up being a 1, essentially. Maybe the kid had it or something. Yeah, see, it needs a new pull-down motor for the back. That's not a big deal. I might have an extra one of those laying around, actually. But yeah, that's the car. It's in real good condition. Even the soft top back here. I love the white on white with the blue. All right, so I'm leaving the shop with the Riviera. And first thing I noticed is I think it may need some power steering fluid, or maybe the pump is just tired. I had checked the fluid level, but it wasn't running. It was kind of low. Well, it wasn't reading in the stick, but again, I'm not sure if it's a hot-cold read situation, but that's all right. I got power steering fluid at home. This is the first drive. You guys are experiencing it with me. We just put the water pump in and a serpentine belt. So besides that power steering, which again, I'll sort that out when I get home. I'm not too far away, so I'm not worried about it. As I pointed out before, both screens are burnt out, but I can hear this beeping like it's supposed to. I actually wish I could turn the climate control off, but I can't. Otherwise, it seems to run really well. Radiator was pretty low. I topped that off. It's very corroded inside. It's a newer radiator, so maybe someone put some water in it to limp it home or something, but it's going to need a good flushing. But for now, I topped it off with coolant, not water. Another issue with this car is that the parking lights don't turn off. So I'm going to have to disconnect the battery when I get home until I figure that out. This was not like this when I looked at the car at Copart. I'm guessing somebody messed it up. Maybe it was my transporter. Or, well, I'm glad I honked, actually. That guy almost hit me. That was perfect timing. So the car seems to be running pretty well. Again, I can't see any gauges here, but you know, I have all my well, these only work when the key's an accessory, but all my test lights were working, so it should tell me if there's a problem, even if the dash doesn't illuminate. But I really haven't got it up through past second gear yet. I'm just waiting for this stupid light. You can see the condition of this car is unbelievable. And you know, I spent parts and labor on the water pump, 100 something bucks, not even. It was like a little over $100 with an AC Delco water pump, serpentine belt as well. So I just can't wait to get some power steering fluid in this thing. I hate hearing that. I hear some popping. It sounds like a blown strut. Pretty typical. Brakes feel excellent. We'll see how the transmission is in a minute. The engine sounds pretty healthy. Definitely needs an oil change. So, besides those blown struts, and it seems like it's just on the passenger side. The driver's side feels pretty good. I'll have to investigate that further. All right. So, like the past few videos I've uploaded, this is a continued portion of the original content. I bought this car back in, let's say, early to mid-April. I don't really remember, to be honest. It's one of the later ones I've bought from Copart, but there's been a few more afterwards. Anyway, did the repairs that you saw earlier in this video, the water pump, serpentine belt, etc. Drove it home, tinkered with it for a day or two, and I parked it right here. So I pulled this car back out today for you guys to let you know what's going on with it, talk a little bit more about it, because I didn't have too many clips about this car when it came in. As I said earlier in the video, I had this delivered straight to my mechanic, knowing that after inspecting it at Copart, it needed at the very least a serpentine belt. I didn't check any of the pulleys while I was there. I was just kind of rushing around, but it turned out to be the water pump. But I assumed an accessory of some sort had failed, causing the serpentine belt to snap. So I just had it towed straight to my mechanic. Was the water pump. We did that, and we did a new serpentine belt, and I don't remember if I did anything else, to be honest. I don't think so. I think that's all it needed. The gremlins that I'm having, and it could have just been a temporary thing, because for a couple of days it was working great. It'd fire right up. The one thing I had to do was I had to pull a fuse for the parking lamps, because for some reason they're not disengaging. They stay on all the time. Ever since I got this car running again, that's been the case. So I pulled the fuse for that, but again, the car would still start right up, you know, once there was no drain on the battery. And I started having an issue right before I parked it, where you'd start it up and it'd be running for a bit, and then it would just gradually start to run rougher and rougher and shut down. It seemed like a voltage issue, but I'm not for certain because I don't have Hey, what's going on, Jose? So back to the Riviera. Now I have that new gremlin where, as I was saying before my neighbor came over, it'll be running nice and smooth. I'll drive it around for a bit, turn it off, turn it back on, and it starts to run really rough. It's almost acting as if the alternator is bad. But we actually tested this alternator, and granted it could have just failed, you know what I mean? But we tested it when I did the water pump, and it had a perfect voltage reading. Again, it could have maybe just failed by the time I got it home. Today is the first day I've taken it out since. I threw a battery in from the Riviera, and I had it running for a few minutes. I didn't do that. Weird issue with it starting to gradually stall out. Could it happen? Probably. I'm not sure. I don't want to risk it and go drive around the corner and the thing shuts off. But I just wanted to show you guys a little bit more of the car so I could conclude this video and give you some more content. Even little door lock lights still work, which is remarkable to me. Of course, the buttons are worn off, so I can't tell which ones. There we go, that's unlocked. So I'll start this thing up and we can see if it does anything funny. But you can see, again, none of the dashes are lighting up. So I'm going to weigh the cost of shipping these out to be rebuilt. Or maybe I'll have my electrician who did all the work on my house here. He's a very good friend of mine. Take a look at them. I'll pull them out of the car and see if he can figure out the problem before I send them out for, you know, like $200 a unit to be rebuilt. I did that with my first Trofeo almost a decade ago. Sent it out to be rebuilt. I think it was 250 bucks with a lifetime warranty, which isn't bad, but that was just one screen in that car. I didn't have a Vic in that car. I still own that car. It's up in storage in Boston. But this car's got 2 screens. And generally the Vics are more expensive to rebuild, so aside from its obvious excellent condition on the outside is this Z-bar sticker on the back. For those of you who don't know what Z-Bar is, who are younger perhaps, this was a very popular treatment for the undercarriage done in the 80s primarily, and the 70s. It was an undercoat for the undercarriage. You'd actually pull into these Z-Bar locations where they'd apply it, and it's like the best rust proofing you could get at the time. It's like the equivalent of doing a 3M spray today, except they did it much more professionally. They hit every little possible gap they could hit. And this car's undercarriage is spotless. Although I think it's interesting that they did the Z-Bar application, because this car has been in Fort Lauderdale since the day it was brand new off the dealership lot. So maybe they had intentions of moving up north, I'm not sure. Or maybe they thought the ocean air in the Fort Lauderdale area would corrode it, but there's no corrosion in this car anywhere, underneath or above. I'm actually happy to see that it's staying running. Might get risky and take it for... Yeah, that's some weird thing this does. I don't know. Cries out for mercy. So I'm just going to show you guys the engine bay again. I'm not sure what I showed in the original clips. And there'll be more content of this car to come as I get its issues sorted out. Especially would love to show you guys the big screen and the digital dash, which I could show you in the Riviera. Get the Riviera thing here. I put a nice hole in it tonight like an asshole because I had this thing up to put the battery in, and I forgot, and I went and shut the hood. Thank God it didn't dent the hood. You can see it runs very well. And there's my new water pump. I know it's hard to see, I apologize. New serpentine belt, and I topped off the coolant. I think that's all I did, to be honest. I really don't remember. A few little other things need to be sorted out in here. The cap on the brake fluid reservoir doesn't stay on, so I zip tied it on. And there was a crack in the mass airflow little box here, so I put some tape over it to avoid any issues with it. It looks like that my electrical issue may have sorted itself out, because what it was doing prior was it would have shut off by now. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate all of you who just recently subscribed. Thank you for joining. It's going to be a lot more Copart content, and there's been a couple questions I figure I should answer because I've been seeing them a lot in the comments. I am a licensed dealer. However, I've had a few people who seem oddly upset over the way I use my property. I don't sell any of these cars here. I have a commercial space. It's a very small space, but it's the space where I can have that dealer license, and that's where I conduct any type of selling of vehicles. What I have here are my personal cars, and I know there is quite a few. However, in my city, that is allowed. The neighbors do not care, contrary to people's belief. You saw me just having a laugh with my neighbor over there. We're all good people around here. We're not a bunch of pricks like you find in an HOA neighborhood where they believe that they should have something to say or somebody else uses their property they pay taxes on. Which is insane. I've lived in an HOA neighborhood before, and you can imagine how that went. And I had probably half the cars I have now. I had a few people ask about my experience in the, I guess, used car market. I've been flipping cars for a decade now. Initially as a hobby. I've also done it somewhat as a side hustle. It's definitely not what I do for a living, but I make plenty of money doing it when I do it. If I didn't buy so many cars to keep for myself, I'd probably be a lot better off. But I've always been a car guy before someone who does it purely for business. I think that should cover it. If you guys have any more questions, those of you who are new to the channel, about me, or any comments, I got a lot of people bitching about the burping and the swearing and stuff like that. You gotta understand that, you know, most of these videos and the intro was created when the channel was a lot smaller, even the old channel. And, you know, I've had people follow my channel. My old channel I made in 2007 or 9. So I had people that followed me still from that time period, and, you know, that was all in good fun, and it was a joke, and I don't know, the hood flying up, the what the fuck part. So it was all in good fun and good humor, but there's a lot of butt hurts that have watched my videos who have came from the massive flow all of a sudden I have a new subscribers. Don't like the language, so, you know, understandably so. I like to make this channel as, I guess, friendly for everybody as I can. So I'll do my best to keep an eye on my language. Understandable. I'm doing it in my own videos, not even realizing it. Notably, the Explorer video, I think I said, as a couple people have put it, GD, probably like 40 times. It's almost annoying. But again, I don't realize it. I record these videos totally unscripted, pick up the phone, start talking, maybe too much. But, so I will do my best to watch my language. And criticism is always welcome, you know what I mean? It's, I'm obviously gonna get better and better at this YouTube thing. I've been getting better and better at it for a decade, you know? We're always improving. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks to those of you who have newly subscribed. I'll be doing my best to upload at least a video or two a week. No promises for the next month because I have a lot going on, but at least I think a video a week should be doable. And that's it. Stay tuned for more.